of it, man!
So guess what today's video is about? The Bloodline and their secret dogfight club. No, I'm kidding. It's the TNA Against All Odds pay-per-view from this weekend. Alright, Against All Odds 2024. The TNA product seems to be doing okay this year. They've definitely got better at marketing themselves and there is an interest in the show. But the question is, can they turn that interest into making fans of the show? Maybe this pay-per-view is going to help. This one takes place from Chicago, Illinois in a sold-out arena full of old people. How do I reach these kids, man? Mike Santana is the first man out and he's tagging up with Steve Macklin, who makes the girls grin. They take on the Little Rascals with their crazy dance moves. It looks like Santana is going to use his size advantage to utilise power, but then he starts chain wrestling instead with Wentz. Tags are made and Miguel lands the first move of the match with a body scissors into a stomp. The Rascals start double teaming with stereo dropkicks. Santana dodges another stomp and double clotheslines the Rascals. Macklin comes in and starts throwing power moves. He gets overconfident though and the Rascals destroy him again with more double teaming. Trey gets him locked in a single leg Boston until Santana just walks up behind him and chops him, causing Trey to comically open his mouth so wide that it looks like he could drive a train down his gullet. The Rascals continue destroying him with double team moves. Macklin eventually manages a counter by dropping the Little Rascal right on his ugly face. Santana has the tag and he also drops the Rascal on his face and then lands a DDT. Wentz is killed with a cutter and a running knee with the pin broken up at the last moment. The Rascals go back to winning. Trey holds Macklin across the ropes and pedigrees him as Wentz does a swanton bomb to his back at the same time. Dude, I was watching TNA Against All Odds the other day, man. Possibly in the back. And this dude, Zachary Wentz, he stole my swanton bomb finishing maneuver, man. But it didn't finish. Man, I'm going back to North Carolina and I'm going to tell my stoner friend Shannon all about you, Wentz, man. The Rascals continue spamming double team moves. It looks like it's over after a double stomp. Santana breaks up the pin at the last moment. Wentz tries to awkwardly assist Miguel with a moonsault and throws his own partner straight into Macklin's knees, and he almost wins with some roll-ups. Santana gets the tag. Macklin stops the Rascals from using spray paint and says, "Shut up or I'll smack you one." They take out Miguel and Santana beats Wentz with a discus clothesline. Tell me, how do these Rascals keep getting on pay-per-view? It feels like they lose every single match. Anyway, kind of a random match for a pay-per-view. Some decent moves, but otherwise an inconsequential matchup. Broken Matt Hardy is screaming in a corridor about he's going to become the world champion one day. He says he'll break Moose and delete his title reign. Tonight's match will be no rules, probably because it's the only way we're going to get a good match from the aging Matt Hardy. The next match will be Rich Swann accompanied by AJ Francis. They look so funny stood next to each other. AJ will cut a promo first of all. He makes a bunch of sports references causing the crowd to chant, "Shut the fuck up." If you ain't first class, you're last. The opponent is PCO, who still has his well-produced entrance, although I could have sworn that those scenes are ripped straight off the Last of Us video game. It's good stuff though, it makes the show feel more professional. PCO is like the Undertaker to TNA, except he wasn't there very long. PCO gets us started with a big boot and a clothesline. He looks like he's wearing a plate on his head. AJ distracts PCO, allowing Rich Swann to send PCO out of the ring. Swann randomly dives with a 450 off the apron to zero reaction. How is that move a nothing throwaway move? Back in the ring, Rich Swann pays tribute to a wild slapnuts, I'm not sure why. Swann tries another 450 but he misses this one. PCO starts hawking up, he hits a clothesline and then a spike DDT. He drapes Swann across the ropes and hits a middle rope leg drop. Francis gets Swann's foot on the rope. The ref tries his best to look distracted as Francis dumps PCO on the apron. That looked done. Swann takes too long with his next move and PCO hits a code breaker. He isn't done though and he hits a running cannonball out of the ring. PCO flies back into the ring with the moonsault for the free. PCO is celebrating, but his celebration is interrupted by Steph DeLander. PCO recently wrote her a love letter and she's here to give her a reaction to that. After a very, very long build-up, she agrees to go on a date with him. Never let this woman wear high boots again. She's bloody taller than PCO, who's supposed to be the biggest guy on the roster. Next up, it's a world tag title match. The challengers are Ryan Nemeth and his brother Dolph Ziggler. I've never actually got to see Ryan in the ring, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets along with his brother. They face the Septum, Brian Myers and Eddie Slapnut Edwards. Ryan starts us off with Myers. He takes him down for fireman's carry and a crazy fist drop. I'm impressed with his character work so far, he's bringing the energy. The Nemeths hit a double clothesline. Myers slips away from a Rick Rude tribute, but they can't slip away from his dropkicks. Miss Pierce, Alicia Edwards stops the superkick. Dirty Dango randomly appears at ringside and gets Alicia sent to the back. This is an unexpected turn of character for Dango. The Septum keep getting the Nemeths isolated. Edwards is getting all sorts of hate from this crowd as they laugh at his stupid haircut. The Nemeths should have it won after a combination of moves, but Moose pulls the ref out of the ring. Whilst they try to figure out what's going on, Zolf Diggler dives out of the ring onto Moose. Dango uses that opportunity to attack Ryan Nemeth, which the camera misses. Slapnuts wins with a Slapnut knee party. I guess the Septum have gained a new member with Dirty Dango. Moose doesn't seem too happy about it though. Can you believe that this group have pretty much all of the gold? The ABC have an interview now. Ace Austin tries to brush recent losses under the rug and says it only matters what happens on pay-per-view. Chris Bay brags that this team have been together for 2 years. Yup, 2 completely forgettable years. Royden Grace is shown shaking and sweating following her appearance on NXT. The self-proclaimed king of TNA, Frankie Kazarian, will have a match against Joe Hendry. It's good to see this guy actually getting on the main show and not the pre-show. This guy actually charted in the UK with his song. He cuts a promo talking about his recent fame. He moves on to start making fun of Kazarian and how old he is. This guy's just fire on the mic and he has the crowd in the palm of his ass. Something special is happening with Joe Hendry. Joe starts well with lots of power moves. I've been saying it for months, this guy's special, but people in the comments have dumped on him because he doesn't do flips and cool moves. Well, guess what? He's entertaining, which is what is needed more than anything in wrestling. Kaz manages to dodge some punches and hits a leg drop on Hendry across the ropes. Kaz is in charge for a while until the Believe in Joe Hendry chants fire him up. Hendry catches Kaz's dive and hits the sack of turd. For a couple of minutes now, they keep reversing each other. Kaz hits a backstabber, but Hendry hits a powerbomb. The ending of this match is just weird. Hendry picks up Kaz from the apron with a back suplex, but somehow Kaz makes the cover for the 3. They say that Kaz countered it, but it didn't look like Kaz did anything to reverse the back suplex. After about 4 or 5 replays and slow motions, we get to see that Kaz had a loaded fist. It wasn't clear enough, a dumb booking decision. Kaz attacks him after the match until Ace still makes the save. And Ace still stands tall. What's Hendry got to do to get a push around here? I'm sorry, I love Kaz, but he isn't going to do anything to turn business around. Joe Hendry offers something that most of the roster do not. Crossover appeal. For the last year, Hendry has been booked on all the pre-shows every month, yet he consistently entertains and is memorable. You can say be patient, but this has been going on for ages now. Now we have an X Division title match. The challenger is Trent Seven versus the champion Mustafa Ali. He's been the champion for 9 months somehow. He gets a massive hometown hero welcome despite being a heel. They then play poorly produced footage where Ali is running down Chicago or something. I don't know, I could barely hear it because there was a strange echo on the footage. Completely unwatchable and unairable. This is amateur hour.
I don't want that piece of You realize that's a prop that means nothing!
Seven sends him into the corner straight away and almost has him beat with a lariat. The match continues as Trent hits a dragon suplex on the outside of the ring. He brings him back to the ring but misses his wacky dive. People are still heavily cheering Ali, so I guess the badly produced pre-interview didn't work. What a surprise. It's all Trent Seven here as he connects with a powerbomb. The match seems like it turns when Ali jams his leg into the mat, but straight away Seven catches his rolling cutter and hits a big suplex, followed by a set-up powerbomb for a 2. There is almost a ref bump, and Ali takes advantage of a smack to the slash zone. Ali connects with his lariat, but rightfully Seven kicks out because he's barely taken a move in this match. Ali moves on to try a suplex on the top rope, which is countered into a slam from Trent. It's not over. They're soon falling over the top rope again. Ali looks to be in real trouble here, especially as his friends are banned from ringside. Then I'm almost shot straight away as Ali hits a 450 to the back of Seven. It might have been more devastating if we haven't already seen this move 3 times tonight. Ali dumps in his nappy of anger and grabs the title belt. The ref is knocked over, allowing Trent to smack Ali in the nutsack and hit a burning hammer for a 2. The Virgins in the front row watch on intently as another fight is happening on the top rope. Ali blocks a burning hammer attempt and kicks him down by the bad leg. Ali isn't done and hits a 450 to his leg and locks on a sharpshooter for the tap out win. Nice match and the ending made sense. Given this guy's winning streak, shouldn't he be moving up the card? Kazarian is shown bragging in the back saying he'll be world champion soon. Santina Morella, the management figure, says Kaz will face Ace Steel on Impact. Can't imagine wanting to see that one. In yet another pointless tag match, this time the ABC, Chris Bay and Ace Austin will face Eric Young and the returning Perk Alexander. A Canadian flag is shown, autographed by Scott D'Amore. Not sure how that snuck in. Young and Alexander are a team due to bonding over being both bold and both Canadian. Eric laughs at the Bullet Club's stupid gimmick. I just love watching pay-per-view matches with no reason for the teams to be fighting. It makes it even better when they're all friends. I was really struggling with the shirt at this point. The lack of storylines is really harming this product. And a double nutsack grab spot ain't gonna help matters. They do 50 moves, and I'm sure many people will enjoy this one, but it's the same tag match we've seen 3 times already tonight. I was feeling burnt out. It ends when Eric Young smacks out his own partner by mistake and he's hit with the fold for the 3. Now we have a recap of how Jordynne Grace and Ash by Elegance both turned up on NXT recently, and Grace lost to Roxanne Perez. WWE and TNA are pretty chummy nowadays. Out now is that very roid machine Jordynne Grace. This will be an open challenge. It's answered by the challenge of Tatum Paxley from NXT. She gets 0 crowd reaction. This referee looks high. A man comes out screaming, "Ladies and gentlemen," actually just gentlemen as there isn't any ladies in Chicago, "this is Ash by Elegance's manager," and he thinks everyone has got a ticket just to see her. Well, here she is, just to watch the match, just like she does every pay-per-view. At least she doesn't look like Toni Storm anymore. It's nice to finally have some sex appeal on the show. It's weird hearing the commentators discuss WWE so openly. Paxley wants to scissor Jordynne or something. You know, I may joke, but Jordynne is a really talented wrestler. Her moves all look really nice and painful. She's actually fantastic. I'd personally be happy of her wrestling some men, because let's be honest, she could believably beat up most of the male roster. My issue is with her lying about steroids, because it creates unrealistic expectations for people in an age where everybody is already super self-conscious. There's going to be defenders in the comment section saying that they believe her and she isn't on the gear. That has to be one of the most idiotic comments ever. She looks like the female Scott Steiner. Anyway, Paxley hides under the ring and lures Grace in to slam her head on a steel girder. Grace recovers and quickly fights out of a submission. Both girls miss moves. Grace then rolls through on a pin and picks her out of a slam and also Vader bombs her. Grace gets her on the top rope, which Paxley fights off. Grace stops her with an uppercut and does a muscle buster. Paxley kicks out, which would leave Samoan Joe dumping in his nappy of anger. Pins are traded again for a while. It's a really fun trade-off. Another fight on the top rope leads to Paxley hitting the lobotomy off the top rope. Interestingly, she was trained by Daphne, and it's nice to hear lots of talk about Daphne's career on commentary. Anyway, just a 2. Grace just has too much power and she counters again and hits the Roid Rage. Surprisingly, just a 2. Jordynne looks to finish her off and keeps clubbing at her. Paxley manages an enziguri to slow her down. Grace is up quickly and hits a spinning back fist into a Death Valley driver straight into the needle driver for the 3. Really enjoyed that one. Nice to see Grace booked strongly. She's massively outgrown this company in more ways than one. Let me know, would you be happy to see her facing men, or is it enough that she regularly co-main events the pay-per-views? There isn't really anyone TNA could sign which would be a believable threat to her. Of course, she's attacked by Ash, but it doesn't go well for Ash. I sure can't believe that she has a chance. We seem to be going that way though, because Ash has been annoying her for months. She tips champagne on Ash. Better than champagne on ass. All that's left to do is cover the main event. Matt Hardy returned to TNA 2 months ago and he's been annoying the world champion Moose. Matt has been up to his usual broken brilliance. Now they will have a broken rules match. He looks like he's been burnt in an oven. Moose just looks miserable, but that's kind of his character. The bell rings and there's still 26 minutes left of the show, so I guess this is a long match, which could be worrying because Matt hasn't had a singles match for a year. The Nemeth brothers take away the septum. It's Matt with the first big time clothesline. He considers a twist of fate but instead hits a DDT. They're on the apron now when Matt hits a side effect. He keeps going and hits a twist of fate on the outside. All of this has happened in the first minute, so I'm really wondering what's going to happen in this one. Moose starts using a trash can lid. Miss Piss, Alicia Edwards is still here putting weapons in the ring. Moose slams Hardy on a trash can in the ring and fights off a slam with a smack to the nutsack. They head into the crowd next. Moose keeps slamming Hardy into a wall as there's loud chants from the crowd of "We can't see." Hardy back body drops him out there. This crowd is right, I can't see. Fortunately, we return to the ring where Matt hits an elbow drop for a 2. A second twist to fate is countered as Moose hits a huge Uranagi for a 2. They fight for a bit, teasing over who's going through the table in the corner. Nobody does for now as Moose creams Hardy with a chair. Moose managed to hit a superplex onto a chair stat now, but Hardy is still kicking out. Moose tries another superplex now, which has switched into a Matt Hardy powerbomb into the chair stack. Matt takes a break now to get a cardboard box. He tries to kick it into the ring, but comically it falls out of the ring. Matt retrieves the box, but can't open it as Moose is back up. Moose finds himself intrigued by the box. It turns out to be a football helmet from Moose's football days. He puts the helmet on like a goofball and pays for it when he's dropped out of the ring onto a ladder. We take a break from the action now as Hardy moves some furniture around. Matt hits Moose in the head with another helmet, which causes the crowd to chant CTE.
Using it as a weapon here.
Dude, what's Kevin Nash doing at ringside? Hardy climbs the ladder and hits a big time leg drop on Moose through the table. Matt Hardy struggles to get untangled from the debris. He isn't finished with Moose though, and he traps his head in the chair and hits the twist of fate. It should be over, but Miss Piss Alicia Edwards start beating on Matt with a kendo stick. Oh god, not Rebby Hardy. She's now a blue girl. She comes to Matt's aid. Look at those stupid shoes. Rebby hits the twist of fate to protect her husband. She shouldn't have bothered though, because Moose predictably pulls Rebby in front of a Matt Hardy spear through the table. Moose hits his own spear and makes the cover for the 3. The Septums stand tall as usual. They beat on the Hardys more until the Nemeth brothers return again. Joe Hendry also tries, but everybody gets a beatdown. Then some music hits, and it's Jeffrey Nero Hardy, fresh for complaining to Shannon earlier on. Hardy takes the system out on his own as they stand around like morons. Jeff hits a swanton bomb on Moose to show the TNA roster how it's really done. That was a nice moment to end the show on. From what I understand, Jeff will also be working for WWE, so TNA feels a little bit indie right now, but nonetheless it's a big name that they can get on the card. Okay, so Against All Odds 2024, how was the show overall? I'll be honest, most of it I can't really remember and it just felt like filler. The last 2 matches were a lot of fun, but past that it felt like an episode of Impact with random tag matches all over the show which had little to no storyline. The in-ring stuff is always great, but I need a storyline to make what they're fighting for mean something. It's like this with nearly every match on the card. I'm giving the show a 5 out of 10 just because I really enjoyed the last 2 matches, but this show isn't really offering anything different right now. ECW was popular because they carved out their own niche and style. I would assume that more eyes were on the TNA show than usual because the Hardy Boys were wrestling, but I'm not sure they did anything to keep those viewers. Imagine if Jeff Hardy hadn't ended that show on a feel-good moment. The pay-per-view would have felt as flat as your girl's ass. Anyway, let me know what you thought of the show down below. As usual, I'm the Hawk and you've been listening to me talk.